Yo, what's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the live stream. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday. We are back. I'm back out my coma, like that Kanye song. Been sick for the last couple days, but we are back and excited to stream today. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to watch um this wonderful Thursday night football game with no injuries that will impact it at all, right? That's just how the cookie crumbles. We're in week 5 and you know, all the teams are on bye. Half these players are fucking sleeping with the fishes. It's just brutal, but we're gonna have a fun time today. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you guys do leave a like on the stream. That is the best way to help me out, is by leaving a like on the stream and on all the videos. That is the best way to help me. Outside of, sending me your paycheck, which is of course a joke. Sometimes people can't pick up if I'm being serious or not. But obviously that would help me too. I am feeling better. Yeah, I was it was a lot worse the other day. I feel much better now, so I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Love you long time. The rankings are going to be up on Patreon right now. I'm uploading them right now. And thank you for the super chats already. Katon, are you here? Are you here? Is my question, because you did super chat at 6:58 and I was not live. Are you here? Just message in the chat that you're here, and then I will answer your question, because I don't want to go in depth on something like this. And then you're not here, and that's like, what a fucking idiot this guy is, right? He sat here. Oh, you're here. Okay. Okay, thank you. No, I was just making sure, because I didn't want to go in depth with a bigger question like this, then be like, oh shit, I gotta re-answer it again later. So thank you. Okay. Team is May, Genty, Kyron, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, DeMarcado, Pickens, DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey, Chris Olave, Wandale Robinson. You got offered Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, and Dak for Kyron, K9, DK, and Keon. Ooh, that's spicy. I think you have to do that. I think you have to do that. And the reason why I think you have to do that is there is so much less risk with the guys that you are receiving compared to the guys that you are sending away. And what I mean by that is, let's be honest, right? I think DK Metcalf is a great play for the rest of the season, and I am very hopeful that DK Metcalf is able to build on what we saw last week in Ireland. Right? I am very optimistic about that, what I saw. But if I'm being real with you, which I am, there is reason to believe that that could just have been a one-off, right? Kenneth Walker, you're going to be sitting there every single week. Is he the lead back? Is he not the lead back? What are they doing? How can I trust him? What do I want to do? Can I even actually play him? I'm scared, this, that, and the other thing, right? There's worries with him, right? So when it comes to Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Adams as a whole, assume Dak isn't even a part of this. Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Adams are so safe. So safe. So safe. So, in my opinion, I think you have to do that trade. And look, Keon Coleman is basically useless, in my opinion. Like, in part of this trade, it doesn't even matter that you have to trade him away. Doesn't matter. Kyron, obviously, I like Kyron, but I think you're just getting so much safer with what you are getting. And you could probably also just move, like, if you have Drake May and Dak, you could probably just trade one of them. So, looking at your team, I think you're going to be fine with, like, if you have Genty, Jonathan Taylor every single week, man, you're just going to be feeling so good. So I think you have to do that trade. I think you got to do it. I think you got to do it. All right. The rankings are up on Patreon. So, yes, I think you 100% have to do that trade. I love that trade. Was worried about Pickens and Worthy after Lamb Rice come back, so I wasn't sure about getting rid of DK. Yeah, that's fair, but I think Lad, like, I also think Olave and Wandale are pretty safe as well. So I think you should feel fine with doing that trade. I understand that, but yeah, I would definitely do it. Am I the only one terrified of CMC's workload? Like, you think he's gonna get too many touches? Is that what you're scared of? You think he's gonna get way too many touches? I mean, maybe that is scary, right? Because of his injury history, right? Giving a guy like that roughly 7 gazillion touches tonight. I understand why you might be worried, but I think we're to see Christian McCaffrey see a ridiculous amount of touches tonight. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to absolutely feast or scatter the injury. I get that. I get that. But at the end of the day, I don't see them feeding him to the point where they're like, if they are as scared as we were about the injury, they wouldn't give him that many touches, right? They simply just wouldn't. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to get a lot of touches, and he'll be fine. But I get why you would be worried, right? There's definitely reasons to be worried based upon his career as a whole. So I get it. I get it. I get it. Start two. Henderson, Harvey, Kendrick Bourne. Great question. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't really want to start Kendrick Bourne tonight. If I'm keeping it 100, I think Kendrick Bourne, to me, kind of feels like the kind of play where you are just literally grabbing the bottom of the barrel. You're picking it up. You're hoping, Kendrick Bourne, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And then he just, kind of shits the bed. So I would go with Henderson. And, oh, man, I really want to say Henderson and Harvey. But a lot of what we saw with Harvey was later on in the game, kind of in garbage time. So in your scenario, I guess I would just chance it with Kendrick Bourne. So I'm going to go Kendrick Bourne and Travion Henderson. It doesn't feel the best, but again, a lot of your guys' lineups, a lot of these questions are going to be much tougher this week because you have way less options because of bye weeks. So I would go Henderson and Bourne. I'm still pretty pissed off about Henderson's workload. I still don't understand why they're not giving him more touches, but I guess maybe we'll see that this week, that they actually finally acknowledge that he should be seeing more touches. Levi, thanks for the super chat. Pollard, Slayton, or Chubb, thanks, brother. No problem. The way I look at this is pretty simple. If you're sitting there, you're like, Nick, I want to get. Oh man, I think you have to play Pollard. But the way I look at it is, hey, I want 10 points. I play Pollard. And if you're like, hey, I want 15 points, but I understand that I could get 2 points, I would play Slayton. That's kind of the way I look at things. Like, if you are sitting there right now, Levi, and you're looking at your lineup and you're like, this is not looking good. This is looking bad. This is looking like, hey, if I play this player, or hey, I think I'm going to lose. I don't love how my lineup is sitting. Then in that scenario, I think you would probably want to go with Slayton, right? If you're not feeling the best about your team, then yeah, I'd play Slayton. But otherwise, I think you just take Pollard and you get your 10 to 12 points and you're kind of just happy about it. I would go Pollard. What's up, legendary one? Mando Jr. _97. Jesus Christ, man, I can't read some days. Offered JSN, McMillan, and Pitts for Worthy Ferguson. Ooh. I definitely want JSN, McMillan, and Pitts. Definitely want JSN, McMillan, and Pitts. What's up, Slick Rick? How you doing, man? I love Ferguson. I think Ferguson is going to be potentially a league winner this year, but I don't think like JSN, Pitts, and JSN and McMillan themselves are just worth way too much money, way too much worth in my opinion. I think Tedero McMillan, I know it's a big if the Carolina Panthers actually can figure out how to get things going offensively with Bryce Young, I think Tedero McMillan could easily be a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy, as crazy as that might sound. So I would definitely, and I think Worthy's value is going to sink a little bit with Rashee Rice coming back. So I would prefer to have JSN, McMillan, and Pitts. Joel, thank you for the super chat. Traded Hall for Bowers 2 days ago, starting to regret it with Allen out and Bowers injured. My running backs are Jacobs, Judkins, Hampton. My tight end is Laporta. Thoughts? Also, Knicks or May in another league. Marks, Henderson, or White. Great question. Okay. Traded Hall for Bowers, and I'm starting to regret it. Yeah, I get why you would regret it. I think the way that I would look at that basically is Breece Hall is going to have much better reliability ranking, in my opinion, now that we don't see Braylon Allen be a part of the picture. But don't think just because Braylon Allen is gone does just now means that Breece Hall is like this workhorse running back, because you already know they're going to use Isaiah Davis, right? You already know they're going to use these other pieces on the team, and it's going to still very much piss you off, just like how it would make you mad when you'd have Breece Hall. He gets you all the way down the field. They hand the ball to Braylon Allen on the goal line, and then the guy fumbles, right? It's going to be that exact same scenario, except for without Braylon Allen, it's going to be Isaiah Davis. And maybe it happens less frequently, but it is still going to be a part of the equation. I think Brock Bowers' days of how he's been performing will get better, right? I think Brock Bowers is better than what we have seen. So I obviously, in my opinion, my lean would be I would rather have Hall than Brock Bowers, but I don't think that's that crazy of a trade. My running backs are Jacobs, Judkins, Hampton. I mean, I like your running backs. So, and if you have Laporta and now you have Bowers, I would try to get. Is Bowers isn't out though? Bowers injury. Bowers has been banged up like this whole time, like the whole season. He's been banged up. So I would probably, if I was you, I would try to get rid of Laporta if you can. And then Nix or May, I would go with May. And then Marks, Henderson, or White, I would rather play Rashad White. Those are some good questions. Thank you for the super chat. JH, thank you for the super chat. Flex 1, DeMarcado, Wandale, or Judy. Great question. Now, Amari DeMarcado is going to be probably the player I get the most amount of questions about today. My genuine opinion on Amari DeMarcado is going to be that I think him and Michael Carter will see enough touches that one of them will be pretty good and one of them will be okay. And I think I would lean with DeMarcado seeing more touches. But there's a lot of hype about Michael Carter. And in leagues where DeMarcado was already picked up, I picked up Michael Carter. And for my fantasy team that is banged up to shit, I'm hoping Michael Carter outscores DeMarcado. But I think the smart move here, when you have Wandale, you have Judy. Judy is very risky. I like Jerry Judy, the player, but now you're going up against the Vikings, which is a very tough matchup for wide receivers. And now you're going with your quarterback's first ever NFL start as a rookie up against the Vikings defense. And this game isn't even in the United States of America. It is in London. So there's a lot of weird factors to go with that. That makes me very scared about a guy like Jerry Judy. So for me, I would personally go DeMarcado. If you're worried about how much usage DeMarcado will get, and you're like, I just want the safe option, you play Wandale, but I would lean DeMarcado personally. Labyrinth, thank you for the super chat, my man. I greatly appreciate you. You sent me the super sticker, which I'm going to pull up YouTube just so I could see it, just for you. Just so I could see it. I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to hear myself speaking. It's going to be way too loud. You guys will hear it. Thank you guys all for watching, by the way. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the stream. Helps me out a ton. Labyrinth, let me see that. Oh, wow. Am I not going to be able to scroll up far enough to see it? I might just have to go on my phone and then I'll be able to see it. But thank you for the super sticker. I greatly appreciate you. I love you a long time. And I'm going to get to your other question in half a second. Thank you so much. All right. Full PPR, the motivational man with Ramsey J. Full PPR rest of season. Daniel Jones, Devontae Adams, Sutton, Jacoby, Kraft, CMC, Hampton, ETN and the flex. Got offered CD and Aaron Jones for Jacoby and ETN. Do I do it? Do I do it? Okay. To me, it heavily hinges on how much you need ETN. And based on your team, you have CMC, you have Hampton, so you don't need ETN. And you're 4-0. Fuck. This is tough. Because, like, when you're getting Aaron Jones back, in my opinion, I'm not assuming Aaron Jones is going to be doing that much. If I'm being honest with you, I think Jordan Mason will have stolen his job by the time that he gets back. So it's basically CD Lamb, like you're giving away Jacoby and ETN, and you're basically just getting CeeDee Lamb. That's how I would look at this. Um, if you feel confident in the other running backs on your bench, I would do this because now being able to start Devontae Adams, Sutton, and CeeDee Lamb every single week, I mean, you are looking at so many points every single week that I think I would just have to do it. I think benches Downs, Horton, Mims, Caleb Williams, and Kendre Miller. Okay. 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 See, I think I would do it, but I think the safer move probably is not to do it. And why I say the safer move is not to do it, because you have Christian McCaffrey, who inherently is an injury risk, right? So having that backup plan with ETN will feel better. But if we live in the world where no one gets hurt, right? If Christian McCaffrey somehow doesn't get hurt, your team is significantly better with, you know, trading for CeeDee Lamb. So that's what makes it tough. I think if this is my team, I'm doing it because I'm more risky of a player. So yes, I would do it personally. But yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the trade. I'm gonna do it. Yusuf, Chubb, Ertz, Alec Iomanner. I would go Ertz and Alec Iomanner. Chubb, I still think does have value because he's a big body running back and he's going to get his chances to score touchdowns. He's going to have big games where he finds the end zone, but those games are going to be far and few in between ultimately. Alec Iomanner is clearly the wide receiver one in Tennessee. My biggest question with Alec Iomanner kind of just really is how good are the Titans? Can the Titans really be a reliable team? And I think your answer to that is pretty obvious. Probably not. But I do think that with the amount of touchdowns that he scored this season, if he fell ass backwards into the end zone, no one would be shocked. And then Ertz, just because Jaden Daniels is back, I think that really helps Ertz out a ton. So Ertz and Alec Iomanner. What's up, DC? Labyrinth, thank you for the super chat. Start Tua or Darnold. Now, I have Darnold ranked ahead of Tua. Tua to me kind of just seems like you play him against the Panthers, you like the matchup. Tua could either go balls to the wall in this game, which I hope he does, but without Tyreek Hill, when you start a guy like Tua that has zero rushing upside, you need Tua to be able to throw 300 plus passing yards and 2 plus touchdowns, right? That is the way that Tua gets unlocked as like a top 12 quarterback, assuming every other quarterback plays relatively solid. Now, if that doesn't end up happening, you probably end up with a outside the top 18 finish, whereas Darnold's just going to get you like 16 points, right? Darnold's just always going to be that reliable for you. Sure, he's probably not going to be that week winner. Sure, he's probably not going to take things over the top and score 20 plus points, but he's going to be okay. So to me, I would lean with Darnold. NBA DeYoung Baby, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate your picture of the Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Full PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Judkins, Chuba, J.K. Dobbins, Travion Henderson, Pittman, Alec Iomanner, T. Higgins. Also would be trading DK for Rashi. Worth it? Great question. So let's set your lineup real quick first. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Judkins. Okay. So at running back, you're going to play Judkins and Chuba. At wide receiver, you're going to play Pittman, assuming he plays, and you're going to play Iomanner. And at flex, you're going to play J.K. Dobbins. That's pretty easy, in my opinion, because I would rather just not roll the dice on T. Higgins. So Judkins, Chuba, Pittman, Iomanner, Dobbins. That feels good. And then would trading DK for Rashi be worth it? In my opinion, yes. Like, I would rather have Rashi Rice than DK Metcalf. But if you could wait one more week, I would prefer to see what happens with DK this week before you roll him out there. Because if DK produces again like he did last week, I think they're on a very similar playing field, and you're just taking on a little bit more risk with Rashid, so, or with Rashi Rice. So personally, I guess in short form, I would prefer to have DK Metcalf, and then I'm starting Judkins, Chuba, Pittman, Iomanner, Dobbins. That's my answer right there. Ross, thank you for the super chat. Ross Roberts says, shallow 8-team, half PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Running backs are McCaffrey, Judkins, Kamara, Walker, Marks, Jefferson, Adunze, AJ Brown, McMillan, Waddle, Sutton. Trade Kamara, Walker, Waddle, Sutton for Barkley and Puka. Thanks. Great question. Now, the only reason why I would ever make a trade like this is because the fact that you are in a significantly more shallow league, especially in an 8-team league. 8-team leagues. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys how to run your fucking league. You could play however you want. I know not all of you guys are the commissioner of your league. If you're in an 8-team league, you need to have it to be where you could start significantly more players. This is not the scenario he is in. So in this scenario, yes, I am 100% making that trade because when you have Jefferson, Adunze, McMillan, AJ Brown, Waddle, Sutton, you can't start all the guys that you want with 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, right? You're not able to do that. You're not able to fire up McCaffrey, Judkins, Kamara, Walker. You can't fire up all these guys, right? So now what you're doing also by making this trade is giving yourself way less confusion every Thursday, every Sunday. And what I mean by that is a lot of the time you guys are going to be you're going to be in there, Ross. You're going to be trying to set your fucking lineup and you are going to be very, 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 very confused because you have so many good players. Now you are just eliminating all of that confusion because you know who you're going to start. So yes, I'm 100% making that trade to get Barkley and Puka. Legendary one. Thank you for the super chat. Flex 1, Thornton, Malik Washington, or Kamara. I would flex Kamara after one down game, like where Kendre Miller outscored him barely. I'm not willing to, completely hop off the bandwagon of Alvin Kamara. I get that if he was to get traded, Kendre Miller could be a league winner 100%. I agree with that. But I think in the scenario we're in right now, Kamara is still very much the guy on the team. And I think you should very much still be operating under the assumption that that's the case. So I would lean with Alvin Kamara there. Would you play Juwan Johnson or Darren Waller? Getting a lot of questions about Juwan Johnson recently. Juwan Johnson is currently listed as questionable, limited on Thursday, dealing with the ankle injury. He had a bad game last week, but that was also a really tough matchup up against the Buffalo Bills, like as a whole. So one down game after getting 8+ targets in 3 straight weeks doesn't swing the pendulum to me to where I would want to be benching Juwan Johnson. Ernesto, I love what I saw to Darren Waller. As a Dolphins fan, that made me happy because of the fact that, hey, we lost Tyreek Hill. Maybe Darren Waller, I understand Darren Waller's not Tyreek Hill, but maybe he could just fill that void in that offense. Be like Jonnu Smith last year. And you know what? I think that's possible. But it's not like he saw a gazillion targets. He's coming off of the retirement. I don't think we're going to be looking at him this week to be getting 5+ targets. Like, I think if he gets 5, you're happy with that, and you're hoping he scores a touchdown. And I hope he scores. I still hope he scores multiple touchdowns. But frankly, I would still lean with Juwan Johnson. Thank you for the super chat. The motivational man with Ramsey J. Thank you for the super chat. Drop Mixon for Christian Watson and drop Mims for Corum. I'm definitely getting rid of Mims. I know Mims lit it up last week. The odds of him doing that again are incredibly low. So I don't really want anything to do with Mims. I don't think he's really that big of a guy. So I don't really like Mims that much. Now, the problem with dropping Mixon is you've already held him for 5 weeks. What's another 2 weeks before we actually know how healthy he's going to be? Right? I'm pretty sure they said that we're supposed to know within the next couple of weeks, right? Coach D'Amico Ryan specifically indicated that Joe Mixon is not ready to return at this time. It will be much longer, if at all. Yeah, like, okay. You know what? I'm fine getting rid of Mixon. I never wanted to draft Mixon because of this. So go ahead and cut him. You know what? Fuck it. Joe Mixon, to me, the odds of him coming back after you read stuff like that is just so low. And I think that every week that passes should just be a strong indication that, hey, you shouldn't be holding him. Now, if you have an IR spot and you can just hold him on the IR, go right ahead. But I'm fine cutting him for Christian Watson. So I'd be fine making both those moves. Rodney, thank you for the super chat. Trade Puka for Marion Hampton and Drizzy Drake London. Great question. Yes. Yes, I would. I would prefer to have O'Marion Hampton and Drake London. Now, Puka Nacua is one of the most safe players you can have in fantasy football. If not the safest. But O'Marion Hampton looked incredible last week, and I see no reason as to why O'Marion Hampton can't do that every week. So while there's more risk, I would be willing to do it, especially since I think Drizzy Drake London has the upside to be a top 12 wide receiver by the end of the season. So yeah, I would do that. Flex, Kendrick Bourne or JCM, Tongs or Mason Taylor, PPR. I would go with Jake Tongs and just hope he scores a touchdown. And then I'm going with Bourne over JCM. I love Bill as much as the next guy. I'm a Bill truther. I think Bill's going to have a good season. But until they fully lean into giving Bill the correct amount of usage, how could any of us truly believe in him? And that's kind of just how I feel about it. So Tongs and Bourne. Dixie Freely, thanks for the super chat. Because of buys, start Chubb or Michael Carter. I would lean with Michael Carter just because the way that you are looking at this essentially is it's a bye week. You need to fill in. I could see Michael Carter going crazy. I don't really see Chubb going crazy. I don't really see Chubb going crazy. I could see Chubb getting like 10 points. I think Chubb might be a little bit safer of a bet than Michael Carter, but I think when you're just looking for upside, which is what I tend to do, I think Michael Carter just has more upside. Like Michael Carter himself said that he's the starter on the team. How much do we believe that? I'm not too sure. Right. But I think it's at least, actionable news enough to start him over Chubb. OG Paul D, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate you. I will scroll up to find that. This super chat is from 725, so only like a few minutes delayed on the answer. So no problem, Dixie. I will go find that. Question is in the comments. My bad. No problem. No problem. Let me find it. My man, in a 2-quarterback super flex sharp competitive league, flex 1. Slayton, Bill, Iomanner. Then start 2 quarterbacks out of Dak, Danny Dimes, and Fields. Pretty sure I know your answer. Check in for the reassurance. No problem. Okay. Now, the quarterback question is very hard. The quarterback question is very difficult because Fields, Dak, and Daniel Jones are all my second tier at the quarterback position. The first tier is just Josh Allen. So basically, all 3 of those quarterbacks you want in your lineup, but you're not afforded that. You can only start 2 of them. So, in my opinion, I would start based upon my rankings, based upon my thought process. It would be Dak Prescott, and I have Justin Fields 4, Dak Prescott 8, Daniel Jones 9. So I'm going to go Fields and Dakota. We got both quarterbacks going up against each other in your team. Interesting. That's how we're going. And then Io Manor, Slayton, or Bill. I think I would go Io Manor and just pray to the gods that he scores. I think Slayton's very risky. I think Bill's very risky. I mean, Io Manor's not safe either, but I would prefer Io Manor. So I'm going to go Io Manor, Dak, and Justin Fields. Labyrinth, thank you for the super chat. Full PPR. Henry and Hawkinson for Kittle and Cup. Henry owner has Brock Purdy. I would prefer to have Henry and Hawkinson. I think Derrick Henry is a very, very, very clear bounce back candidate. Now, this might not go too well. No problem, OG Paul. This might not go too well without Lamar, right? Things could start slow without Lamar. I fully understand that. But at the end of the day, I do think that even without Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry should be able to perform, and they're going to try to lean on him more. So for me, I'm definitely preferring Derrick Henry and Hawkinson over Kittle and Cup. Definitely. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Chris S. In a 10-man half PPR with 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 flex, you have Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. CMC Genti, Kenneth Walker, Puka, JSN, Tet, Igbuka. My God, your team is good. First place. Don't know if I should trade Igbuka, Tet, or K9 to upgrade the starters. Your team is very good. Very good. Yeah, what I would look to do is trade. I would definitely look to trade away. Man, your team is really good. I would look to trade pieces away to get a legitimate tight end. Because once you get rid of. All right, I got you. I can fix your copier. Shout out to your daughter, Francesca. I got you. But in my opinion, why you would want to get it's hard for me to want to get rid of any of those guys, but realistically in a league where you're only starting 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, you want to make sure you have a better tight end than Fannin. Because realistically, look, I like Fannin, and I think he's a talented player, but unless something was to happen to Njoku or for them to trade him, I think Fannin's going to be kind of just on the back burner of the I just don't see him really exploding. Whereas if you could trade Tet or Igbuka right now for, Trey McBride or something, like you could probably get Trey McBride for Igbuka. I would 100% look to do that. Or some kind of package where you can get, maybe you trade Igbuka and Tet together, or Igbuka and Kenneth Walker, and you get a running back plus a tight end. That's what I would look to do personally. Definitely love your team. I see why you're in first place. If you could just package any of those 3 guys in an offer to get a tight end and a running back, or a tight end and a wide receiver, I am doing that easily. Easily. Yep. And then you're going to feel way better about your team. Thank you for the super chat. That was a great question. And your team is loaded. Thoughts on trading Flowers and Kincaid for Shakir and Goddard? Also, is it time for me to drop Mixon? My running backs are Genti, Scattaboo, Kamara, and Rashad White. Now, I think, look, if Mixon is on your team and Mixon isn't on the IR, right, where you have to have Mixon burning a hole on your bench, at this point, it's kind of just time to get rid of him. Can he come back? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's impossible for him to come back. But based on what we have seen, what makes us think that he is coming back, right? What makes us feel super confident that he is? Because everything that we've read points nothing towards he's coming back. Everything points towards it ain't looking great. That's what it points towards. So I definitely don't feel very good about Mixon. And I don't think anyone should. So my lean would be yes, you can cut Mixon. And I want Flowers and Kincaid over Shakir and Goddard 100%. I like Shakir, but I think Kincaid is a pretty big gap above Goddard, and I think Flowers is a big gap above Shakir as well. So I would not be able to do that. I want Flowers and Kincaid, and yeah, I'm good getting rid of Mixon. I am A-okay getting rid of Mixon at this point. Scott, thank you for the super chat. Thanks, my dude. Can't believe I'm asking this. No problem. Monty or Henry at running back? Thanks. Okay, so the reason why you asked this is because you, A, want me to say Montgomery because you don't want to play Henry, or B, you want me to say Henry so that you play Henry and you don't feel stupid about it. If it's my team, there is no way I'm sitting Derrick Henry. Why am I not sitting Derrick Henry? Because I don't think I'd be able to sleep at night sitting Derrick Henry, playing Monty, and Monty scores 3 points like he did last week. Now, do I think Monty's going to score 3 points like he did last week? No. No, I do not. I think we'll have a much better showing, but I think you will feel bad about yourself if you sit Henry. Look, the team's going to have to run the rock through Henry this week. We are going to have to expect Derrick Henry to get force-fed the ball in this game up against the Houston Texans. We have to assume they're going to give him the ball early and often in that game to take it off of the back of Cooper Rush. Now, at some point in the game, could the Houston Texans take such a big lead that they have to stop running the ball? Yes, but I don't necessarily think that will happen. So I think you just have to play Derrick Henry. Look, I get Derrick Henry has screwed you multiple times in a row. I get Derrick Henry has made you very, disgusted with yourself because you played him, and I get it, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's been all sunshine and rainbows for Derrick Henry, but I agree with I can fix your copier. He's going to be fine. He will be fine. Is there reasons to worry somewhat? Yes. But is it, sound the alarms, wee woo, DEFCON 1? No. So I would prefer to have Henry in my lineup personally. And I get why you asked the question, because if I had them on my team, I would be thinking this too. What, like, how many times in a row is Henry gonna do this to us? But yeah, I personally, I don't think I could sit Henry. Cooler hand, Godwin, or BTJ PPR. Thanks. I loved what I saw to Godwin last week. Nick, he didn't score that many fantasy points. I know, but 10 targets are 10 targets, guys, right? 10 targets are 10 targets. So in my opinion, I love Godwin going forward, but you can't sit BTJ, man, especially because just based off of watching that game, what I saw out of BTJ and Trevor Lawrence was, wow, look at that. They actually kind of have a connection now. Look at this. They're kind of figuring it out. And to me, that means enough to where you would have to play him, right? Where you would have to play BTJ one more time. You rock with him one more time because their connection seemed at least remotely acceptable enough for you to do so. So yes, I would roll with BTJ one last time here. One last ride. Ernesto, thank you for the super chat. Pick one. Jameson Williams, Slayton, Higgins, Shaheed, Tucker. Great question. I think you just have to play Jameson Williams, Ernesto. Jameson Williams has been a big disappointment this season. He really isn't that disappointing if you just assumed that he was going to be what he was last season. But that's just what he is, right? And I'll accept that, Kevin. He basically is what he was last year and what he's been in the past, which is just largely a boom or bust wide receiver. Do I think that is going to change this season? Probably not, right? I don't think Jameson Williams is going to magically become this uber consistent wide receiver. Do I hope that he can become that? Yes. Yes, I do. But do I know for sure that he will? No. No, I do not. So, but in this matchup, with such a cupcake matchup, I think you basically just have to play him and hope he scores a touchdown, which I think is very plausible in this matchup. So I would lean with keeping him in my lineup. So I would play Jameson Williams. I just feel the safest with him. Jawan, thank you for the super chat. Super chat from 738. 1738. And I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello. Thank you for the super chat. Did you leave your question in the chat, Juan? I called you Jawan, like Jawan Jennings. Thank you, Juan. Am I blind and I don't see the question? This is the what's up, Rob? How you doing, man? How you doing? Hello, motherfucker. Hey, how you doing? There we are. There we are. Puka for Hampton and Lamb. I think you have to do it. I think you have to do it. I think you have to. I love Puka Nacua, man, and it's hard to get rid of a guy like that. It is hard to get rid of a guy like Puka that is as reliable as Puka Nacua has been. But I'll tell you one thing, that is when CeeDee Lamb comes back, CeeDee Lamb's going to be in your lineup every week. And based on what we saw last week, Hampton's going to be a top 12 running back probably every single week. So while I don't look, I'm not 100% in love with doing this trade, but I think you almost have to do it, right? I think if I would feel as though I had to do this. So that would be the way that I would lean, and that is in that you have to do it. Yeah, Puka is a target monster. I agree. Puka's a beast. He looks so good every single week, and there's no reason to think that's going to change. But, I mean, Lamb, when he comes back, he's like a top 5 receiver in your rankings every week, right? And Omarion Hampton could just as easily be a top 5 running back every single week in the rankings. So, again, while it might not feel the best, You might feel a little bit squeamish getting rid of Puka Nacua. I think you have to do it. I'm getting Hampton and Lamb. Christopher, thank you for the super chat. Pick 2, Mason. Devontae Smith, Chase Brown, Michael Carter, Khalil Shakir. Wide receiver 3 and flex. 2, Dowdle or Kendre Miller, Sutton or Godwin. Okay, good question. All right. Okay. So, pick 2. The first question, Mason, Devontae Smith. Chase Brown, Michael Carter. I'm playing Mason and Devontae Smith. I don't love Devontae Smith, so if you want to be safer, you can play Shakir. Or if you're hunting for more upside, you play Devontae Smith. For the second question, Dowdle or Kendre Miller. If Chuba doesn't play, it's Dowdle. Easily. If not, I would go Miller. And then for the third question, it is going to be Sutton. I feel much better about Sutton than I do about Godwin. So I sent the answer in chat. It's going to be Mason and Devontae Smith. If you don't want to play Devontae Smith, you want to be safer, you play Shakir. It's Chuba. But if Chuba doesn't play, it's Dowdle. Assuming that Dowdle, assuming that Chuba does play, though, it's Miller. And then Sutton over Chris Godwin, 100%. Dean Sanchez, thank you for the super chat. Chase Brown, Devonta Smith, or Addis at the flex. Thanks, no problem. You're kind of in the scenario where you just have 3 super risky bets, and you're just looking for who do you think is most likely of the risky bets to hit. And to me, I think that would be Devontae Smith because it feels like against the Eagles, up against the Broncos, the Eagles aren't just going to be able to have one of those games where you can just, coast to victory, right? Where you can just have a super easy going game where you coast to victory, you run the ball a million times, la-di-da-di-da, Devontae Smith plays, doesn't get a lot of targets. That doesn't feel like this kind of a game. Now, any given game with the Eagles could go that way, but I would lean with Devontae Smith. Again, I don't think you feel good about any of these guys being in your lineup at this point in the season, especially Chase Brown. I don't know. I don't know how Zach Taylor goes out there and says, "Oh, I'm so comfortable with our quarterback position." What do you mean you're comfortable with the quarterbacks? The quarterbacks that you have, like Jake Browning stinks. Like he reeks out loud, and I don't see him getting much better than what we've seen. But I would go Devontae Smith and just pray to the gods that he scores. That's what I would do. Labyrinth, Raheem Mostert flying under the radar right now. Yes, I agree with you. I think he is very under the radar. Now, do I think that Raheem Mostert should be in your lineup this week? No. But if something was to happen to Ashton Genty, knock on wood, Raheem Mostert, based on how he looked last week, I think Raheem Mostert is a very high valuable handcuff. And as we get closer and closer to the fantasy playoffs, that's the kind of guy you need on your bench. I don't think he has much standalone value, especially just due to the fact that the Raiders are never going to really be that good to be able to be up so big in games that they're handing the ball off a million times to Mostert. But I do agree with you. And I do think Ricky Pearsall will be okay, Ravi, eventually. I'm not too worried right now. I agree with you. I do think Raheem Mostert's very under the radar. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Dak or Stafford? Dak for me. The biggest problem with Stafford, and I say this every week, is when you are as immobile as Matthew Stafford, what Stafford has to do is throw 300 plus yards and 2+ touchdowns for you to be happy that you started him. Now, Stafford will probably always live in the range of, you're not that pissed that you started him, but you're also not that happy that you started him, right? And that's kind of just the limbo that he lives in weekly. Do I think that is going to be always where he is? No. But at this point, this could be a very easy game for the Rams. This could be get up early, hand the ball off a ton. You don't really need a lot of Matthew Stafford. So that's why the easy answer to me would just be to go with Dak, right? The Cowboys have no defense. 0 defense, right? They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. The Jets, they don't have any defense. So if Dak's getting up on them, they're going to have to throw a lot, which is going to lead to a shootout. a very high scoring back and forth affair where I think Dak is going to feast. So I love Dak this week. Pause. Zay Zay, Kyren Williams or Tet? I would have to go with Kyren Williams. I love Tetero McMillan, and I think this is the coming out party for Tet. I think Tet McMillan's going to finally have that big game we've been waiting for. But I've been saying that for 4 weeks. The Dolphins' defense is terrible. I think, realistically, Tet McMillan should roll us up in a spliff and smoke us. But can't guarantee that because Bryce Young is so useless. Kyron's going to get a lot of touches. Again, I think they're going to be up in this game, putting the game on ice late, running the ball a ton. So I feel much better about Kyron. The S-Box, follow up in the chat. Thanks, no problem. No problem, Mr. S-Box. I love your picture of Mr. Crash Bandicoot. I used to love that game when I was younger. What if instead I do Flowers and Kincaid for Waddle and Goddard? I still think I want Flowers and Kincaid just because I think rest of the season I'd rather have Flowers over Waddle and Kincaid over Goddard. But if you don't like Flowers anymore, which I get why. I didn't like Flowers in the summer. The problem is Kincaid has been so good, I think it would hurt. But I'm much more likely to accept that trade. So if you want to do it, my opinion is, from what it seems like just talking with you, you don't want Flowers on your team, right? That's become very abundantly clear. You don't want Flowers, so just do it. I like Jalen Waddle a lot now without Tyreek, and I think I would probably rather have Waddle than Flowers, but I would definitely rather have Kincaid than Goddard. So it does make it tough, but yeah, I'd be fine accepting that. And since it seems like you want to accept it, go ahead. I think that's fine. Fernando, thank you for the super chat. I'm 4-0. Have CMC and Puka. Should I be patient on Lad? Yes. Lad. The problem with Lad McConkey is, no problem, yes, box, is you can't fucking trade him, because if you trade Lad, you're not going to get anything remotely worth actually making the trade. And what happens is the fantasy gods know how you work, right? If you trade Lad McConkey, I can almost assure you Lad McConkey the very next game will go crazy. It's not because Lad McConkey's just been itching to go crazy. It's because you got rid of him. That's just how fantasy goes. That's how it's always gone, at least for me. I finally get rid of some guy. I'm like, you know what? It's done. Like, after weeks of holding on to Lad last year, I cut Lad McConkey. I was done with him after like 6 games of him sitting on my bench. And then like 2 weeks later, he's on top of the world. I'm like, shit, why did I get rid of him? I'm so stupid. I talked him up all summer. I got rid of him because I needed a new quarterback in my super flex league. And I felt stupid. So personally, especially if your team's 4-0, why would you get rid of Lad? Like, you just don't have to. You just don't have to. You got to just hold strong on Lad McConkey. Hold the door. Shout out to Hodor. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Yo, Nick, Tyler Warren starting tight end. Should I slide Jake Ferguson the flex for Flowers? Yeah. Look, I think Flowers is going to be fine this week because I think Flowers is the kind of guy that could take any dump off, any throw right to the crib. And I also think Cooper Rush is competent enough with him. So I would go ahead and play. Isaac, I get where you're coming from. I honestly think Lad had too good of a connection with Herbert to be this bad. And this is coming from someone that also told you to draft a lot of Keenan Allen. So I expected both Lad and Keenan Allen to be good. And I expected QJ to be doing what Lad was doing. But instead, QJ is the one going off and Lad's the one fucking doing diddly squat. But I would be fine doing that. Jake Ferguson is going to be getting so many targets every single week. It's going to be super, super safe. Super, super safe with Jake Ferguson. So I like that move. I would be very, very fine playing Jake Ferguson over Flowers. Browns D or Ravens D? Great question. I have the Browns ranked 3. The Ravens rank... Oh, I got to move the Ravens up. Hold up. Hey. I got the Ravens at 8. So I'm going to go with the Browns. I don't think the Ravens are must sit or anything like that. But the Ravens defense has definitely been a big disappointment this year. And I don't think any of you guys would say differently, right? I don't think even if you're a Ravens fan, I mean not Ravens. Oh, it's Rams. Fuck, dude. I read that as Ravens. See, this is why I don't stream when I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? I got the Rams at 6. Okay, but what I was gonna say, yes, I know I read it wrong. What I was saying about the Ravens, real quick, is the Ravens defense has been very disappointing. Even Ravens fans will say that. But I like the Rams against Mac Jones without any of the wide receivers. But what I will tell you is, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all if Mac Jones had a decent enough game. Sure, he will get sacked a couple times, but to score enough points to where the Rams defense isn't as good as the Browns. Because look, Carson Wentz isn't good. Yes, I know. Carson Wentz is not very good. So I think that Cleveland's going to get to him a lot. And I think he's going to make a lot of mistakes. Like we saw towards the end of last week's game. He made a lot of mistakes, and it's going to cost him. And he is going to struggle because of it. I really think the Browns defense have the upside to be the best defense of the week. And I think the Browns have the upside of being not one of those like, oh, they scored 20 points. Like legitimately, if you had the Vikings, I forgot which week it was. Maybe it was week 2. Where the Vikings scored like 40 fucking fantasy points against me. They were going up against me in like every league, of course, right? I could see that happening. I could easily see that happening with the Cleveland Browns being like this. And that game, I could also see ending 3-0. It's also in a different country. It's in London, and those games are typically pretty bad. I know last week's game technically was good between the Vikings and the Steelers, but sometimes those games end up going really bad. So while I do like the Rams defense a bunch, I still lean with the Cleveland Browns. I just think the Cleveland Browns are going to be all over Carson Wentz. So I lean with the Browns. Rock out with your cock out. Thank you for the super chat. 1 wide receiver, flex. Bourne, Kendrick. 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Bourne, Tolbert, Harvey, Ridley, PPR. Ridley cannot be an answer at this point. Ridley is hurt. He's not getting usage because he's hurt, and he also wasn't getting usage because he just wasn't playing good. So many complications with Puka. Not with Puka. Puka has no complications. He's running as clean as a whistle right now, so no complications with him. But I would go Tolbert and Bourne. You're just going to hope Bourne is the wide receiver 1. And you're going to hope that up against the Jets, it's a shootout, and Tolbert scores a touchdown. That's what you're going to hope. Because while I want to say the answer is RJ Harvey popped last week, but that's largely because they were up by so many points up against the Bengals that, that touchdown that he scored, I mean, I think most people could probably see that probably would have been J.K. Dobbins if it was a closer game, right? So I'm going Bourne and Tolbert. Mac, thank you for the super chat. Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, Coleman, or Harvey. Oh, man. I think I would play Coleman, if I'm being honest with you. Keon Coleman has not been great, but I think I would feel the most confident in him because I could see his targets increasing if this is a closer game. If I didn't want to play Coleman, I would probably lean with Kendrick Bourne, though. I think all of those players are, like, obviously far from ideal. It's a big bye week this week. A lot of teams are down bad. A lot of teams are dealing with a million injuries, too. So I'm not going to judge you for having to start these players because I'm starting very bad players in a couple of my leagues. Like, guys that should never grace a starting lineup in fantasy, and they are on my team. And there are multiple bad players on a couple of my teams. And no, that's fine. You're down bad with buys and injuries. I agree with you. Trust me, I agree with you. I will show you guys right before we end the live stream what some of my teams are looking like, and it's looking bad. It's looking really, really bad. Really, really bad. But yeah. That is, I would go with Coleman, and if you don't want to play Coleman, you play Bourne. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. Ooh. And here, I'm gonna throw one of my teams on the screen right now. Actually, I'll pull all of them up so you guys can see them all. Keep answering questions. Devontae Adams touchdown tonight. I like that. With the buys this week, should I flex Justice Hill or Diggs? Diggs. Yeah, in your scenario, I'd be fine doing that. I'd be fine dropping Bill for Herbert. Worthy or Waddle? Worthy for me. I like both of them now. Yeah, it has been a crazy year. It has been a very, very crazy year with injuries. A lot of unlucky stuff happening. It's just how fantasy goes, though. But this year, it feels like they've hit us way earlier than they normally do. Okay. Here we go. Here's one of my teams. One of my teams that I'm starting this week. Real quick, I'll just show you guys. We are starting. Here, let me put myself on the bottom like this. We are starting Josh Allen, Michael Carter, David Montgomery, Hollywood Brown, Malik Washington, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Cameron Dicker, and the Detroit Lions defense. We have Bijan bye. Ricky Pearsall's dead for the week. Drake London, bye. Tucker Kraft, bye. And I lost Tyreek. This team is down astronomical. And in this league, I am in third place with 6. I have a lot of points, and I'm in third place. And this fucking team selling me up a river here. That in this league, and then I'm going to answer your guys' questions too, don't worry. Yeah, I have to start Calvin fucking Ridley. I'm going to just play Isaiah Bond. Fuck it. I don't want to play Calvin Ridley. No, I'm going to play Malik Washington, actually. This team's down bad, too. So many bye weeks. Everyone's dead. I had Tyreek on this team, too. RIP. This team, and I'm going to keep answering your guys' questions, don't worry. This team also without Tyreek. We have to start Malik Washington and T. Higgins because Rome and DK are on bye. And then, in this league, we're starting JC. We have to start Bill Nye the Science Guy and Io Manor because Drake London and Roma Dunes are on bye. So brutal. And then, on Yahoo, in our subscriber league, look at this. Everyone's dead. Everyone's hurt. Tyreek, get off the team, brother. See you in Valhalla. Tyreek Hill. So brutal, man. Tough sledding. All right, back to answer your guys' questions, though. Sorry. We still have 10 minutes left, so we're good. We're all good. Ernesto, how confident are you in Rico? Very confident. I'm confident in Rico as a top 12. Top 12? Holy shit. That was a misspoken. That was a misinput. That was me misspeaking. I am confident. Is DeMarcado good? Yes. I am confident in him slotting in right where I have Chuba. So I have Chuba as my running back 21. He is in the same range as Jordan Mason, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Chuba, and Woody Marks. I'm very confident taking Chuba out and putting Rico Dowdle in that exact same spot. Now, would I guarantee that Chuba Hubbard's out? No. I would not, but he didn't practice again today. So, it's a pretty good indication that he may be out. Again, not a guarantee, though. Just an indication. So if he is out, I've got him as a top 24 back, and I think you should feel good about playing him. And now that I said that, I'm going to pick him up in my league so I don't have to play some of these bums that are on my fantasy team. If he misses. If he misses, of course. So yeah, I would feel pretty confident as like a top 24 guy if Dowdle, if Chuba misses. I think Dowdle's a very good player. I've always thought that, though. I've always been on the Dowdle bandwagon. Let's see. Devontae has a rough matchup. Do I ride with him or play Pittman or Wandale? I'm playing Devontae Adams. If you're talking about Devontae Adams, I'm playing him. I assume you don't mean Devontae Smith because his name is spelled a little bit different. I assume you mean Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams cannot be sat. Devontae Adams cannot be sat. I don't really care about the matchup. I don't care what people will say about the matchup. I'm playing him. He is good to get 20 points in any given game. If he could just figure out how to catch the football, and I mean this very serious, very literally too. If you watch him play, he's missing catches all the time. If he figures out how to catch the football, dude, he's going to be like a top 5 wide receiver week in and week out. I feel very good about him. Pittman's banged up too, which is a little bit of a worry for me. I'm playing Devontae Adams. I'm going to live by Devontae Adams, die by Devontae Adams. If it doesn't work, it is what it is. I'm going to live and die by the sword of Devontae Adams. And if it isn't Devontae Adams and it's Devontae Smith, I'm definitely playing Pittman. But assuming it's Devontae Adams, I'm definitely playing Devontae Adams. How good is the Niners defense against the run? Well, let's see. We'll tell you the exact number here. So I know I give you guys all these crazy what's that? Fantasy Pros. I give you guys all these like analytics. All this stuff is just from the internet that you can find for free. So we're looking for the 49ers against the run. Was that it? But yeah, definitely playing Devontae Adams over Pittman or Wandale. Feel way better about them. Who are we looking at against the run? Shit. How good is the Niners defense against the run? So all you gotta do is Google fantasy points allowed fantasy pros, and you can find exactly what I'm looking at. And then we're gonna spam answer a bunch of questions. You can see it right on here. At running back, the Niners, they rank 27th against the run, so they're pretty good against the run. That's how I find this stuff. Please tell me to get rid of Ja'Marr Chase. I'm sick of him. Get rid of him. I would prefer to get rid of him too, but he's not worth anything, and that's the problem. Michael Carter video forecast. I read he's getting the first reps. I think Michael Carter could easily get the first reps too. I'm not 100% certain about DeMarcado, but I probably still would play him. Just like if you had Carter, I would play Carter. Defense rankings. My defense rankings. Yeah, I'll show them on screen for a second. They're on the Patreon, though. You can get them $12.50 a month. And I also answer all questions on there. These are the defense rankings for the week. Let's build my lineup. Okay, I got you. I'm going to just type it out real quick. Do we have a super chat? No, we do not. I agree. I agree with Paul. Abs just set it and forget it. I agree with you. All right. JSN, T-Mac, Genty, Reese, Judkins, Juwan. Bowers DMP today? Yeah, I know. Not looking the best. The defense whisperer. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Pick 2, have PPR. Quentin Johnson, Debo, Judkins are worthy. I would go QJ and Debo. Go get rid of him then. Go get rid of him. Kenneth Walker or DeMarcado? I'd go Walker. Yeah, I agree. It is a tough matchup. No problem. Do I take this trade? Darren Waller, Coker, Igbuka. I would prefer. Man, I think I'd prefer BTJ, Spears, and Diggs. You look like $1,000,000. How are you feeling? I feel all right, Nick. I've been sick all week, so I definitely don't look like $1,000,000. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I've been sick all week. I'm starting to feel better today, though. But my nose is still fucked, so I sound like it. I probably sound stupid because my nose is all clogged, but I feel better. Start 2. I'd go DeMarcado and Stevenson. I got offered Derrick Henry, and I give up Genty and Dobbs. Thoughts? Not. I'd rather have Genty and Dobbs. Chat, Kendrick Bourne or Michael Carter? I would play Michael Carter. Why do I like the Seahawks over the Rams? Because the Seahawks defense has been red hot. I get the matchups tough, but they've been a top 5 defense in 3 straight weeks, top 12 every single week, and they've gotten 2 picks in 3 of 4 games. So that's why. So I think I would try to get rid of Tony Pollard if you can. Did you get sick because of the Tyreek injury? Yeah, he did. I saw that shit on the screen, and I got a 102-degree fever because of it. Tolbert versus versus the Jets. Luke versus the or Bond. I would go Tolbert personally. Judkins or ETN? I think I have ETN 12, Judkins 14, so ETN. Rams or Seahawks? Seahawks. Jordan Mason or Rashad White? I have Rashad White ranked higher. Show is still the best. Have a good night. Thank you. I can finish your copy. Sit 1. I would sit Monty. Colts or Cardinals this week? Cardinals. Taysom Hill, when he comes back, I'd be fine rostering Taysom Hill. I don't know if I'd love starting him, though. Running backs and flex. I got you in a second, Caitlin. Running back and flex, DeMarcado/Kamara and Pittman or Wandale. DeMarcado or Kamara, definitely going Kamara. Pittman or Wandale, definitely going Pittman. Pittman has been on a certified roll. He's been playing very well. I do have my worries about Pittman's injury, but assuming he practices tomorrow and he plays, I just don't think you can sit Pittman. He's played too hot. And Kamara, I definitely just have to start because I think better days are ahead for him, and I still believe he's the best back on the team. And DeMarcado might not even be the RB1 on the team, even though I'm fine playing DeMarcado for a lot of you guys, not ahead of Kamara. Non-PPR, Kyler Murray or Danny Dimes need the upside. Last week, we definitely got this wrong because I said Daniel Jones, and I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray outscored him. But I would go with Daniel Jones against this week against the Raiders. This matchup does have the makings, if the Raiders can keep up, of being a very high-scoring game. Daniel Jones has been a top 12 quarterback in 3 of 4 games. I understand last week didn't go his way, but he also threw a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown because A.D. Mitchell dropped the fucking ball instead of walking into the end zone. So if you just give him those extra points, he has a bigger game. So I would definitely leave with Daniel Jones. Kyler, again, just kind of feels like a quarterback too. It seems like you're typically never going to be that happy with him. Quarterback 16, 22, 16, 16, 4 straight weeks. I mean, it's just not that exciting in my opinion. Looking to fill my flex, Pacheco, Iron Manor, or Slayton. Thank you. Love you long time. Love you too. I would go ahead and play Io Manor personally. I don't want anything to do with Pacheco. Taysom Hill or Kendre Miller. On my bench, I'd rather have Kendre Miller. Taysom Hill's 8 million years old, and he's coming off of an ACL. BTJ or Mason, I'd play Mason. Good luck, everyone. Good luck, Richard. Good luck. That makes sense. None of your business. Could you pick one? Drake May. Lad. No. Drake May, Egbuka, Pickens, Barkley, Mason. There you go. Got Brown, Monty, Scat, London, James Williams, Egbuka. Ooh. Should I try to trade for a better wide receiver or running back? I mean, I would try to get a better running back, but it's gonna be hard with the receivers that you have. So I think you're probably just gonna best stick and by with who you got. Let's go, Kyron. Please ball out. I hope so. Let's go, CMC. I'd rather have Taysom on my bench. Yeah, that's true. How are you feeling about the Browns defense? I love them. Who should I flex? Drake, Egbuka, Pickens, Barkley, Mason. That's not enough. Oh no, never mind. I'm stupid. Flex lad. Shake your ass. Watch yourself. Is it possible Danny Dimes has less points than Kyler Murray since JT can take over the game? Wouldn't Kyler have to throw more? See, the problem is you would think that, right? You would think Kyler would have to throw more, but even with the Cardinals not being like the best, Kyler has only thrown for over 200 yards twice and has thrown one of those games was just 200 yards. And the Titans are a pretty easy game where they're not going to have to throw a gazillion times to beat the Titans. So I would definitely prefer Danny Dimes. Herbert or Dimes this week? Great question. I lean with Herbert against Washington. Assuming Jaden Daniels is going to be back, I think Herbert should be able to bounce back. I also think that Danny Dimes bounces back, but I think Washington versus LAC probably on paper would be the more high-scoring game. Joe Alt being out really fucked Justin Herbert last week, but now that they've had the whole week of practice, I think the offensive line will gel a little bit better. So I feel a little bit better about Herbert. It is close, but I feel better about Herbert. I feel a little bit better about Herbert. And yeah, Stafford is an unk at this point. He's old. I'm old too. I feel you. When did Stafford get in the NFL? Stafford NFL draft year. I remember him playing at Georgia. 2009. Unk status. Unk status. I haven't watched the start sit yet. What's the live start sit on Jamar Chase? I have QJ, Waddle, Egbuka starting right now. Hope you feel better. Thank you. I do feel a little bit better. I appreciate that. My opinion is I would start who you have over Jamar Chase. I'm fine with that. I have Jamar Chase as a top 12 receiver. Why do I? Because the second you sit Jamar Chase, he is going to play amazing. That's how fantasy works. That's how the fantasy gods work. You sit him, he goes crazy. You play him, he shits the bed. We saw Justin Jefferson have a good game with Carson Wentz last week, so it is possible. If you want to play QJ, Waddle, and Egbuka over him, go right ahead. I would almost agree with that. And I might have to bump Jamar Chase down my rankings, but to me, it feels really tough to sit him because he's that good that really Jake Browning should be able to elevate him realistically. And this week against Detroit is a better matchup than last week against Denver and up against Minnesota. So you would hope he's able to get it done. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to get it done, but I think he should be able to get it done. And I'm sorry that this isn't like a super analytical based take, right? Because when you draft a guy at the 101, for me, it's a very, very hard to sit him, especially when he's not hurt, right? He's not hurt. He's healthy. So personally, if you want to start QJ Wild and Buka over him, go right ahead. I think that is perfectly acceptable. I have QJ in the top 12. I have Waddle ranked in the top 24. Same with Buka. So go right ahead and just sit Jamar Chase in this scenario. You're better off without him. Should I start Michael Carter? Yeah, I'm fine starting him this week. McCaffrey already run for one. He's doing good. All right, I'll see you guys later. We are going to lock in to the game. I love you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great one. We'll be back next week. Peace out. By next week, I mean Sunday. We'll be back on Sunday. Love you guys. Thank you, Spock, for helping out in the chat. Make sure you guys are in the Discord. I want to link the Discord real quick. I'll be talking in the Discord throughout the game, as long as the NyQuil that I take doesn't put my ass to sleep. I do love you guys. Hope you guys have a good one. Join up on the Discord. Good boy. And Harrison, Godwin, AJ Brown, JMO. Peace out. See you, Brian. See you, Caitlin. See you, Tyron. Love you guys. Peace out. Boy.